Okay, good morning. Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. We are in Makkos. Be'ezras Hashem, Makkos. Ken yivdu kol ovecha Hashem. An arch enemy died today, killed. So let's talk about killing b'shoigeg. Killing b'shoigeg, we know what the punishment is. A person who killed b'shoigeg has to go to an ir miklat, has to go to a city of refuge. This shiur is Leilu Nishmas Mefather Akiva ben Mefather Menachem ben Akiva. And let's go into the Mishnah. Thank you to everybody who joins us from Torah Anytime and YouTube. Says the Mishnah, Lechem Goylin, where do the Otzeach B'Shoigeg, the person who killed by mistake, where does he go to? Where does he go to for exile? La'are Miklat, to the Ore Miklat, to the cities of refuge. Which cities were those? It says Mefurash in the Torah and in Sefer Yoshua, L'sholosh be'ever Yarden, u'l'sholosh be'eretz Canaan. There were three cities in the Ever Yarden, three Ore Miklat in Transjordan, where Jordan is today, and three cities in Eretz Yisrael, in mainland Eretz Yisrael, altogether six. Okay? Either of them, Eretzech B'Shogi, can run to any of the six. Shenemar, it says that Shlosh Orim Titnum Ever Yarden. Yeah, you have to establish and dedicate three cities, Mever Yarden, meaning where the 2.5 tribes lived in Transjordan, in the eastern side of the Jordan River, and that's where they have three Ora Miklat, V'sholosh Orim Titnu be'Eretz Canaan, and three Ora Miklat where in Eretz Canaan, in Eretz Yisrael itself. Okay. Continues the Mishnah, Ad shelo nivcheru sholosh be'Eretz Yisrael, l'hoyu sholosh be'Ever Yarden kol tois. Until the three cities in Eretz Yisrael were not yet selected, were not yet chosen to be Ore Miklat, then the ones in Ever Yarden did not yet manage to absorb. Let me explain what that means. It means it took 14 years to, as we saw many, many times also in Kiddushin, 14 years between coming to Eretz Yisrael until they actually lived in Eretz Yisrael. 7 years they fought with the 7 nations until they conquered Eretz Yisrael properly, and 7 years it took them, the internal politics, to basically, to get the chalukah, to get the division amongst themselves. So each Jew knew exactly where his plot of land was. So only after 14 years, the mitzvah Sotluis Ba'aretz started applying. Only after 14 years, there's Alocha Bad Bomois. 14 years, after 14 years, that's when Yehoshua decided that obviously by the word of Hashem, that there will be 3 cities in Eretz Yisrael, Hebron, Shechem, and Kodesh, and then he designated them to be Ore Miklat. Only at that happy note, only then, the other 3 cities were Koilet, which means, who is the one who designated the 3 cities in Ever Yarden, Betzer, and Ramois, and Golan? Who was that? Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu designated those cities, although they didn't yet function. It's as if he designated them, but they were dormant. Yeah, they were like, the power was still off. They only came into action to be able to be koilet only 14 years later, or 14 and a half years after Moshe designated those in Yarden, and Yoshua, 14 years later, came and designated the other 3. Only when all 6 together were designated, then all 6 started functioning together. How do we know that? Yeah, Shenemar, it says, Shesh Ore Miklat Tihena, right? It says there should be 6 Ore Miklat. Shesh Ore Miklat Tihena. There should be 6 cities. Now, everybody knows that 3 plus 3 is, I think, 6, right? Very good. So why does the third have to say 6? We know it's 3 and 3. There has to be a situation that, only when all 6 absorb together, then it functions, which means after 14 years of kibush and chalukah, then the 3 in Eretz Yisrael were actually designated to be Ore Miklat, these 3. Then the first 3 also come into action, and the power is on, and they can be koilet, which means if somebody killed during those 14 years in Ever Yarden, in the land of Gad, Reuven, and half Menashe, the Ore Miklat wouldn't function for him. What would you do to him? That's another question to be discussed later. But Lamaise, it only functioned when all 6 were together. Now comes a very important halacha, Lamaise. ומכוונת להן דרכים מזו לזו, שנאמר תוכן לכל דרך ושילשתו, which means the cities, yeah, those 6 towns, the 6 are miklat, there had to be מכוונת להן דרכים. You had to have good roads, good functional roads, yeah, high standard roads that were there from each city to anywhere in the country somehow. In other words, you always had to have very, very good roads. The Rambam, yeah, it says in other Meforshim that they had to be smooth, no mountains. It had to be like if there's a river, then there has to be like a bridge, and there has to be mechuvan. You have to have a sign or a miklat. Whenever there was a crossroad, says the Tiferes Yisrael, then you have to have a sign saying Ir miklat with an arrow. Everything to make sure that Mr. Rotzech B'Shogeg has the ability to run fast and are a miklat without anybody ambushing him or anybody there, as much as we can. Yeah, we make sure that the city is mechuvan. Mechuvan also means another thing, as we're going to see in the Gemara. They were mechuvan. They were the distance between the cities, yeah, and also between the cities in each side, east and west, and each side, north and south, and east and west, was symmetrically the same. Yeah, was mechuvan. We're going to discuss this in the Gemara. Yeah, there will be. In other words, the location was very central and very symmetrically, yeah, proportionally apart one from the other. Now let's continue. Be'ezras Hashem. Which means, yeah, vidabu elo, which means when the rotzech b'shoigeg, according to Tanakama, you judge the rotzech b'shoigeg, and you decided he has to go to your miklat. Okay, he goes to your miklat. What happens then? Then he starts running to your miklat. Already then, the goyel adam can chase him, and we don't want the goyel adam to really kill him. What do? I said that you give him bodyguards. I was wrong, actually. They're not really bodyguards. They are spiritual guards. You give him, in other words, you provide the Beis Din of the town where he murdered, by the way. That's the Beis Din that takes care of it. The Beis Din of that town, they provide him with 2 Talmidei Chachamim to walk by him. You know, he's flanked by 2 Talmidei Chachamim. Why Talmidei Chachamim? Because they're supposed to sweet talk and try and convince the goyel adam not to kill him. They say, misken, leave him alone. He was a shoygeg. If he doesn't listen to them, and he says, I don't care, boom, and he kills him, then he's potter, is goyel adam. He could do that. But lechatchila, we try to bring Talmidei Chachamim. We hope the goyel adam listens to Talmidei Chachamim. Some of us do, and therefore what? And therefore that's what we do. Frek the Tiferes Yisrael. Why don't we give him bodyguards? If you care about him so much, what's Talmidei Chachamim? Give him one, bodybuilder, Mike Tyson on one side, Arnold Schwarzenegger on the other side. I mean, the good old days, not today, yeah? Okay, I'm talking 20 years ago, black and white, on each side. That would do the job. So the Tiferes Yisrael says, no, that wouldn't work. Because if you start with power, it's a goynish thing. If you start with physical power, there's no end to it. Because the goyel adam will bring more people. Goyel adam will bring 4 bodybuilders. There's no end to it. That would be a whole bloodshed. Yeah, this is not the laws of the jungle here. Precisely because of that, we want to stay more like, humane, and we have to bring Talmidei Chachamim to convince him. Will he listen? We hope so. And if he doesn't listen, tough luck. Goyel adam, at the end of the day, is allowed to, or maybe even a mitzvah, to kill, that will be discussed later, to kill the rotzech b'shoigeg. Now, Rabbi Meir says, you have it, by the way, Ellen, we're towards, thank you. Rabbi Meir, Oimer, af hu medaber lidei atzmoi shenemar v'zeh dvar harotzech. Even he, or maybe only he, the person himself, is allowed to verbally defend himself, in front of the goyel adam. The rotzech b'shogeg may say, oh, please have mercy on me, it was a mistake, I didn't mean to do it. And the chiddush is, we'll see later on, but the Tiferes Yisrael already says, the chiddush is that it's not called that he's belittling his own din. One would say, how can you talk, who allowed you? At the end of the day, you're Rotzech b'Shogeg. You're not oines, you're not korv loines. You're not such a nice guy, Mr. Rotzech b'Shogeg, yeah? The Gemara says later that they're considered as Rashaim. They're getting kapara, not the biggest also, but you killed a person, Mr., yeah? And therefore, who says you're allowed to bichlal defend yourself? Maybe you're like belittling your sin. Kamash Malan says, Rabbi Meir, yes, Zed dvar haroitzeach. Because it says dvar, and davar always means dibur. Yeah, dibur. The rotzeach is allowed to have a dibur. He's allowed to have the talk. He's allowed to have the say, the word, and defend himself vis-a-vis the goel adam. Now comes Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda, and this is a locha lemaisa. No, hopefully not lemaisa, but it's a locha. Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda omer, betchila. Betchila means at the beginning of the process. Let's say somebody murdered. What's the first thing that happens? Does he run to your miklat? Does he go to Beis Din? What's the story? Betchila, echad shoigeg vechad mezid makdimin leore miklat. Both shoigeg and mezid go to your miklat. There are edim. There are edim who saw somebody killing somebody, his friend. They saw edim that saw. There are edim who saw somebody killing his good friend, very good friend. And what? Either was mezid or shoigeg. They take him to Ir Miklat. Then the police, he has to go first to Ir Miklat, also the mezid. Wow. Also the mezid. That's like the first absorption center. That's the first stop. Ubeis din sholchin mavin oiso misham. And then Beis Din send people to bring him to trial. Which Beis Din? Says Rambam, the Beis Din where the murder or the killing or the murder happened. It happened in, I don't know, Hudson Plots. Hudson Plots, that's the Beis Din that invites him and summons him to find out what went on. Mission is Chayv Misa Beis Din Hargu. If he's Chayv Misa Beis Din, they found out he was Mazid, yeah, then he gets executed. Very rarely, but that's what happens Mikra Adin. V'shalon is Chayv Misa Patruhu. Let's say somebody is not Chayv Misa at all. He's Oines, Korev Loines is Potu. Mission is Chayv Golus, Machzir Noisolim Koimoi. The one who's Chayv Golus, the one who really we found out hits the nail on the head, boom, just in the middle, is just the right shoigeg that deserves an Ir Miklat. We're bringing him back to where he came from. Yeah, let's say it was an Ir Miklat, whichever. He goes back to an Ir Miklat because this guy really has to go to Ir Miklat. Yeah, which means maybe the idea is possibly that we assume everybody is shoigeg. The assumption is everybody is good. Then we bring them to Beis Din and we siphon and we select and we see if he's really mazid, we kill him. If he's a shoigeg, you bring him back to the city, and then again he's escorted by Talmidei Chachomim, right? So really there are three journeys he makes to the Ir Miklat, right? First of all, he goes to the Ir Miklat. He goes out of the Ir Miklat in order to be tried in the Beis Din. And then if they found out he's Otzach B'Shoigeg, then he goes back to the Ir Miklat, okay? And during that time, he is very vulnerable. Yeah, he's under danger from the Goel Adam, and that's his punishment. You have to understand also, the more you see the Meforshim here, the more you get the vibe of it. It's very distorted, the way people look at what's his name? It's no. The Otzach B'Shoigeg. You ready? I think you guys also know that we mentioned many times that the golus in Ir Miklat, that's the kapora. Yeah, that's the idea. The main punishment is not being killed by Goel Adam. That we actually possibly, according to some people, as we see in the Mishnah, we dissuade that. We're not so happy with that. The main thing is to stay in your miklat. It's like a friendly, frum kind of jail. In city, you have to stay in that city your whole life or until the Kohen Gadol dies. And the one who makes sure you don't go out is the Goel Adam who's waiting outside your miklat, and he bought himself by mistake a nice little Uzi and a pistol and a sword. And in other words, go deal with it. If you want to go out of your jail, you want to risk it, great. The Goel Adam is there for you, and he has a nice gift for you, a bullet in the head. Okay, there is a Q, it's called in England, and our friend in the back is very quick on the draw. It's a Q. Weiter. We're getting off. We're Moishi. Says the Heilige Gemara, Tonu Abonon, our rabbis taught, Sholosh Orim Hivdil Moshe Be'er Yarden. Moshe Rabbeinu separated, which really means he dedicated 3 cities in Ever Yarden when he was still alive, and we all know he did not cross the river, obviously. So he designated 3 cities in Ever Yarden. One by Reuven. Look at the map. This was the place of Reuven. This is the one of God, and this is the half of the Menashe. This week's parsha, and Moshe designated 1 city per three tribes. There were 2.5 tribes on that side. And the Yoshua, the Kenegdan Hivdil Yoshua Be'eretz Canaan. Yoshua, 14 years later, a little bit more, designated three cities in Eretz Yisrael, one in Hebron, one Shechem, and one Kodesh, south, middle, and north. Okay, basically, nationwide. Find your favorite spot. בארץ כנען, ומכוונות היו כמין שתי שורים שבכרם, שטור שבכרם. They were just like a vineyard, halachically has to be two against two, two opposite two and one, so too they were exactly, or as much as we can, they were one exactly across from the other, yeah? The Betzer corresponding to Hebron, middle, and Golan is Kodesh. Golan is in the Golan. I don't know if that's our Golan. Golan, yeah, Golan is on the eastern side, in the north, like today. And Golan was a town in Ir Miklat that was exactly opposite the one up north there. Yeah, the one which is most up north over here. Yeah, which is, excuse me, Golan is, yeah, which is Kodesh. Yes. Okay, Beseder. So that's it was what? Kadesh. Like you have Kadesh Barnea. This was Kadesh, no Barnea. Kadesh Barnea is in the south. They were in the desert. Now, and the Gemara is going to give us the names. Hebron beYehuda. Hebron beYehuda keneged Betzer b'Midbar. Betzer was keneged Betzer b'Midbar. Yeah, it's all on the board. Yeah. Shechem behar Ephraim. Shechem was in the mountain of Ephraim. Keneged Ramot b'Gilad. Ramot Gilad is where Gad was, the tribe of Gad. Yeah, Kodesh bar Naphtali, Keneged Golan Baboshon. Kodesh, which was in the mountains of Naphtali, corresponding to Golan, which was in the Bashan up north. The Shilashta. What does it mean? You should Shilashta. The Shalish means like to divide to three. What does it mean? Shume Shuloshin. They have to be divided to three, actually four parts. What does that mean? Shiyeh midorom lechevron ki mechevron leshchem. Umechevron l'Shechem, ki Mishchem l'Kodesh, Umishchem l'Kodesh, ki Mikodesh l'Tzofen. Point 2. Full stop. From the southernmost point, which by the way is not a lot, I'm sorry to disappoint. Here, the southernmost point is way halachically. The halachic Eretz Yisrael is quite in the north of the Negev, and then you have all the Chumras and all the Frunkat of Shemitah. What? No. Corresponding. Even Gaza is a shadow of Eretz Yisrael, by the way. In other words, Bekitza around Beersheba is maybe it. But basically, from the south, you have to have X amount of kilometers till the southernmost Ir Miklat Betzel. The same distance from Betzel to where? No. We're in Eretz Yisrael. Sorry, Eretz Yisrael. From the southernmost point to Hebron, the same distance exactly, X amount of kilometers from Hebron to Shechem, the middle, exactly the same difference between Shechem and Kodesh to the north, and exactly the same difference between Kodesh and the northern border of Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, so it's divided to three, which are actually four. In other words, those three have to be in a distance that equal distances between the cities one and the other, and between the northern to the northern border and the southern one to the southern border. No questions now. 1 minute. And the same thing, Be'ever Yarden. Okay, full stop. Yes? I don't know if Shechem is exactly what we are. I don't know. I don't know if exactly what we have today. We assume Hebron is Hebron. Yeah. So what are you asking? Agite Kasha. I don't know. Be'ever Yarden. Frag the Gemara. Be'ever Yarden class, Be'eretz Yisrael class. What? You have 3 cities in Eretz Yisrael and 3 in Be'ever Yarden. It's very, very, very disproportional. Because in Eretz Yisrael, there were how many tribes? There were 9.5 tribes. And in the other side, there were 2.5. It's very disproportional, right? So why did Hashem decide to do that way? Right? There should have been many 1 here and 5 over there. If you work more or less by proportion, disproportional. And says the Gemara, and this is a big line. Says Abaye, in the town, in the area of Gilad, which is over here, Ramot is the area of Gilad. There were a lot of murderers, as we're going to see soon. There were a lot of roitzchim b'mezid. Unfortunately, there were a lot of gangsters, a lot of roitzchim in the area of Gilad, in Ever Yarden. That's why I need or a miklat. And all the Meforshim, Rishon and Achronim, roll up in arms. Ma kesher, as my little kids say, ma kesher. What's the connection? In other words, that's what's ech b'mezid, that's b'shoigig, right? So what does one have to do the other? It's chalk and cheese. So therefore, okay, says Toisfes, he brings down the last Toisfes here on the page. We all know the famous Gemara, which we're going to learn hopefully tomorrow, that what happens if Rotzech b'mezid killed someone and nobody knows? That kind of happens. Or even people know, but there aren't enough evidence yet to actually execute him. Also very common. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of business. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that what? That there should also be a Rotzech b'shoigeg. In other words, let's say the Rotzech b'shoigeg, which wasn't tried either. A Rotzech b'shoigeg goes up the ladder, and then he falls on the Rotzech b'mezid. The Rotzech b'mezid dies. And who decided that? Like you said, Yaakov, Hashem orchestrated it that the Rotzech b'mezid would die in that car accident and that ladder accident. And Rotzech b'shoigeg, now it's done with Eidim. He goes to Golus. Now, says the Maharsha, sometimes one Rotzech b'shoigeg would do it to a few Rotzech b'mezid. And therefore, another one after the other, one on Sunday, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. He has many accidents, right? So be'etzem, they all get killed. And he, at the end of the day, they chap him with Eidim and they send him to a miklat. So Mimela, that's why in Gilad there were many Rotzchim b'mezid, which were not all tried, they were not all put on trial. Therefore, you also had Rotzchim b'shoigeg, because the Rotzech b'shoigeg, right, would kill many of those. So you need a place Rotzech b'shoigeg, you need more Rotzchim b'shoigeg to deal with Rotzech b'mezid. Maharsha gives another answer. He says, listen to the Mishnah. What did the Mishnah say? And the Rambam Paskins, that at the beginning of the process, both Rotzech b'shoigeg and b'mezid go to your miklat. So your miklat is really a place also for mezid. Elamai, the ones of mezid, you schlep them out to Beis Din and you kill them. But Rotzech, the Ir miklat has two purposes: be the refuge for the refugees, for the Rotzech b'shoigeg, and also be the first, triage, so to speak, right? Like triage of all the Rotzchim. So therefore, you need a place. So it's Megoinish of the Maharsha. And the Tiferes as well has another answer, which I don't remember right now. So let's continue. Dichtiv. I didn't know that Gilad was a place full of Roitzchim. I'm not saying full of Roitzchim, and I'm saying it was more common than in other places. Ever Yarden. So of course, the Balamus will say that when there's less kedusha, because Ever Yarden didn't have the same level of kedusha as Eretz Yisrael. And why did Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven wanted to live there? Because of Zoin. And Zoin is today's what? Tesla, big house. Zoin is three things: kesef, money, and geld. And because they came there not for the right reasons, not that there was anything wrong, but they were not looking for kedusha. They were looking for more, nice suburban lifestyle with minimum of kedusha, and therefore more roitzchim happen. It happens to be that at the end of the day, not good stuff comes out of that hashkofa, even if it's not completely osir, right? Gashmias, if you look for Gashmias all the time, then, and that's your main, even if you're kosher, at the end of the day, it doesn't breed anything more ruchni. At the end of the day, people may be more Rotzech b'mezid or b'shoigeg. Dichtiv, and it says, Gilad, it says this in the Pasuk. It says in the Pasuk, in Hoshea, Gilad Kiryas Palei Oven. It's a kirya, a town of Palei Oven, people who do evil. Akuba midam. It's akub from blood. My akuba midam. What's the word akuba from blood? They would follow laakov. What's laakov? To follow. Yeah, you have 120 okvim, on YouTube, so followers, okvim, modern Hebrew too. So then, if they were okev, they were mamish like ambushing and follow people to kill them. So that's a business. So Mimele, you need more ora miklat. Now, if you noticed, and I thought that was your question, Baruch, here it looks so nice and symmetrical. Don't you realize there's a trick over here? We think this is so symmetrical, but it's really not. It's the same distance from here to here, here to here to here. But let's say you live in the southernmost part of Eretz Yisrael. Let's say you live in what's not Eilat, in the southernmost point. Then you have to go. Let's say each one is 10 kilometers. Excuse my bad geography, just I'm throwing a number, okay? Each one is 10 kilometers, right? Very good. If I live here, right, then I have entire 10 kilometers to go. I have to go 10 kilometers. Mashenkin here, right? The furthermost point from any miklat is 5 kilometers. So it's not really equal, right? It's not fair. If I live here, the furthest most point, yeah, is what? Is 10 kilometers from the Mikla. The Goy Adam, he has a Ferrari, right? I have a Mazda. Now, but the furthest point here is 5 kilometers from the entire 10. That's not fair. It's not fair. So that's a question of the Gemara. Allow me just to read the question and listen to you. Frag the Gemara, why is it that the middle ones, the Shem, that in the center of the country, yeah, it's closer to our Mikla. Yeah, quick, yeah. No terrain. You have to build a road which is nice and fast. No, we ignore. We do it very modern. The Rambam says you cut through the mountains and you build bridges. They did. It's not the answer. No, it's not. It's not. They built very nice roads. June. Yeah, mamish like I don't know, like a Japanese train. Omer Abaye, like Vishesh. Omer Abaye, b'Shchem namish chichi roitzchim. Because in Shechem there were also roitzchim, right? Just like in Gilad in Shechem, there were more roitzchim over there. You needed more aramiklat. Yes, it's disproportional because in the center of the country, around the Shechem area, there were more roitzchim, and therefore they needed more aramiklat. Here, there's less population. Yeah, let's say this is very logical. Let's say you want to start the whole chain store in Israel. Good luck to you. Of course, in the center, you'll have more cities. Not going to build your main thing in there, Mitzpeh Rimon, right? Who's there? Because there are less roitzchim, not necessarily less people. There are less roitzchim facilities. In the center of the country, you have more roitzchim. Where is that? In Shechem, mainly you need more facilities of roitzchim. You need more miklat. Dichtiv, and it says that b'Shechem there are more roitzchim. Dichtiv, the kechakei ish gdudim, just like chakei, I think means like to either chaka, like the rod, yeah, the hunting. Ish gdudim, chever kohanim, derech yirtzechu shchema. Yeah, ish gdudim. There are people who huddle together like a bunch of kohanim, and the murder in Shechem. What does that mean? My chever kohanim. I understand there's a group of people in Shechem who murder. What does Kohanim have to do with that? Which means that just like Kohanim would all group together, huddle together, you asked about the Kohanim. How do Kohanim live? They had no parnosa. They would get 24 matnas kehuna. A Kohen would get his grains, would get his wheat and barley from Mr. Balabos, was giving him in Beis Agronos, in the granary, in the barn. He goes there, and they give the Kohanim all the nice food. All the Kohanim would gather like ants to a sweet, and all of them would come together to get the granos. So too the roitzchim in Shechem would be so excited, would all huddle, they would all like hoard together and group together, assemble in order to kill people. I think maybe, I don't know why the Novi compares it to Kohanim who get the Truma, but maybe the Pshat is, for a Kohen, it's a mitzvah to eat Truma. Eating Truma, at least according to some, it's a mitzvah. So could be those murderers, Mistama held it's a mitzvah. To kill that guy is a mitzvah. He doesn't vote for the party I believe in. He's not my kind of guy. It's a mitzvah to kill him. That usually is the case. Yeah, that's my ashkafa here. The Yetzer Hara makes everything look so nice. The Shanor is a mitzvah, Pritzes is a mitzvah, it's all the Shem Shemaim. Preg the Gemore, Vetu Leika. Aren't there other cities? We keep talking about 666, only 6. Excuse me. There are more cities. The Aksiv, it says that in the very same pasuk, it says V'alehem. It says V'alehem titnu. And top of those 6 towns, titnu arboim d'shtayim ir. You have 42 cities of Levim, and on top of those 6, there's another 42. The Maharsha asks a very good question. Why is the Gemara Dafka asking this now? Right? Because the Gemara later will also deal with it. The Maharsha says very well. What's a big business? He's so concerned. Oh, how will he get from here to here? It's too far. These are not the only 6 towns. There are 42. If there are 42 plus 6, which I think is 48, then 48 cities in a small country, that's very close, right? So why are you so concerned about the distance Dafka between these 6? There are many, many other branches all over the country. Yeah, your local, your local Rami Levi, it's everywhere. Your local Sonol, it's all over the place. Answers the Gemara, Omar Abaye, one of the differences between the 42 and the 6, Halalu koltos ben ladas ben shaloladas. Halalu ladas koltos shaloladas and koltos. Full stop, which means there is a difference between the 6 and the 42, hinted, alluded in the Pasuk. It says the 6 cities, and it says them again and again. It's 42. And top of them, 42. What's the difference? Those 6 cities, let's say the Rotzech B'Shogeg, he happened to run to one of those 6. He came to Betzer. He's running. He's going to Betzer, unaware that Betzer is an Ir Miklat. He doesn't know Betzer is an Ir Miklat. He just saw a very nice, restaurant over there. He saw a little kiosk to buy some cold water. He's running. But he doesn't know Betzer is an Ir Miklat, and he went there and he's there. He is halachically protected. Goel Adam cannot do anything to him, although he doesn't know he's in an Ir Miklat. That's called Shalol Adas. Mashenken, if a person went into any of the 42 cities, only if he's aware that he's being in an Ir Miklat, then it's koilat. Otherwise, it's not. It's not intrinsically Ir Miklat, only if he knows that he's an Ir Miklat. So let's say the Goel Adam is smart, and he can prove that the guy did not know, the Rotzech B'Shogeg didn't know he's in an Ir Miklat, and he's one of the 42. So the Goel Adam, in the middle of the Ir Miklat, which is second grade Ir Miklat, can pull the Uzi, the Guzi, and boom, and hit him and shoot him in the head. I'm sorry to be so graphic, it's not nice. But that is it, okay? That's a difference. There's another difference, which you'll see later on. There are 3 differences. Kesef, I can't repeat the same joke, okay? Kesef, money, and dinero. Yeah, in other words, those 6 cities were free, and the other 42 were with money. You want to stay in my town? I'm a Kohen, a Levi. Any of the 42? Yeah, it costs, 2,000 shekels a month. The Shenkin, if you want to stay in those 6, it's rent-free. But that will be discussed later. Yeah, but that's 2 differences. Money and also awareness. Yeah, here you don't have to know you're there. But Shenkin, in the other 42, only if you know you're there, you realize your kolut, only then it helps you. Prek the Gemore, the Chevron Ir Miklatu, all the Ore Miklat, what were they? Ore Levim, right? Is Hebron an Ir Miklat / belonging to Kohanim and Levim? The Aksiv, it says about Hebron. Who got Hebron? Who's the one who received Hebron because he davened so strongly over there? Caleb, yeah. The Aksiv, it says, real in Yoshua, that the promise was fulfilled. Veitnu l'kol Hebron, kasher diber Moshe. Hebron was given, sure enough, to Kolev. And that means, and Kolev was from where? Kolev was for, as far as I remember, Yehuda. If it was from Yehuda, it's not in year of Kohanim. Make up your mind. You can't call it your Kohanim, it belonging to a Yehuda guy. Omar Abaye, Parvedoho. Parvedo, or is one gear says Parveroho. You know what Parvar means? Who knows what's Parvar? Oh, you hit it. Wow. Parvar is a suburb. Shia. Parvar is a suburb. Yeah. In other words, there's a difference between the suburbs and the town, which means Dichtiv ve'es deha'ir ve'es chatzereho nosnu lekolev ben Yefune. What did Kolev get? He did not get downtown Hebron. He didn't get the center of town, the hub. He got the sode ve'es chatzereho. He got the fields outside and the small villages, the chatzerim, the other small towns or outside outskirts neighborhood, the suburbs of the town. That was given to Kolev from Yehuda, but the center of Hebron, the real place, the real deal, was a Ir Miklat because it belonged to Kohanim. So inside of Hebron was Kohanim, and the suburb belonged to Kolev. Okay? Frag the Gemara, the Kodesh Ir Miklat Avoy. Is Kodesh an Ir Miklat? Kodesh is, where's Kodesh? Show me. It's up north. Yeah, Kadesh Naphtali. The Kodesh, are you telling me Kodesh is the northernmost Ir Miklat in Eretz Yisrael? Does make sense. The active, when we discuss the cities of Eretz Yisrael, it says the Are Mivtzar. Are Mivtzar are fortified cities. They're big. Mivtzar usually are, they're walled, they're fortified, they're strong. Yeah, and those cities are Hatzodim, Tzor, Hamas, Rekes, Kineres. Kinneret was the name of a city up north. Yeah, the Kodesh. Please underline with red mark. The Kodesh, it's one of the Ore Mivtzar. It's a big fortified city up north. Vedrei ve'en Chatzor. Okay, so what? So all these cities, maybe Kodesh was an Ir Miklat, and it was a big fortified city. Vitanya, it says in the Braisa, Olim halolu. There are many, many, many conditions for the Ir Miklat has to fulfill many conditions. Yeah, there's a lot of criteria which city can be an Ir Miklat. Not any city that wants to be an Ir Miklat can really be an Ir Miklat. Okay, and let's see now. It says Orim halolu, ein oisinos and lot tirin ktanim. You're not allowed to make a small village into an ir miklat. A small village cannot be an ir miklat because an ir miklat, excuse the pun, has to have a makolet. It's spelled very differently, yeah? An ir miklat cannot be a small moshav or kibbutz. Why? Because there are two, I'll give you the main reason, which Rashi says over here. We need everything to be, it has to be self-contained. In other words, we don't need the guy, who's the guy, the Otzech B'Shoigeg, if he lives in a small town where there's no Makolet, he has to get out of town all the time. That's not fair, because you're supposed to have him live there the whole life, right? It has to be self-contained. So if he lives in a kibbutz or moshav and there's no Makolet, right, he needs to go out all the time, that's not shaykh, right? V'loi krochim gdoilim. Don't make them into big cities either. Why? A big city is an exciting place to go. There's a lot of business, a lot of stuff going on in the big city. And you know who wants to go to the big city? The Goel Adam. They're going to ask the Goel Adam, why are you going to the big city? What do you mean? Why am I going to Yerushalayim? Specialists, I don't know, things. Going out to lots of reasons to go to Yerushalayim. The Kotel, the Rabbonim, the Yeshivas, lots of things in Yerushalayim. There's not a question about Yerushalayim. If you're asking why do you go to Tzorah, that's a good question. What are you looking for there? Yeah. If the Goel Adam, he knows that the guy's in the big city, he has a good excuse to go there. Also, he's really attracted to go there for his business or whatever it needs to go for a fancy restaurant, whatever. And since he's already there, his Yetzer Hara will kick in. I'm actually now in Tel Aviv. Very nice. Tel Aviv is not Ir Miklat. Yeah, I'm actually in an Ir Miklat. Yeah, I might as well meet my friend on the way. Yeah. Therefore, it shouldn't be a city that attracts too much attention, but not a small village, which basically forced the guy to go out of. It has to be a nice, middle-of-the-road, self-contained city that doesn't attract too much attention. Bechemish. You have everything you need over here, but nobody comes here, for no apparent reason. And therefore, 1 second. So now now we're in trouble. Because how can you tell me Kodesh is near Miklat? Well, Kodesh is a big city with all kinds of exciting stuff going on and all their military base. What's going on? And says the Gemara, Amar Yosef, Tati Kodesh Avoyi. There were two Kodeshes. And who says that? One of the Rishonim, I remember already, I saw a lot of stuff here. Basically, it says there were many cities had two versions. Basically, the big city, and there was like the smaller city with a similar name. Yeah? Kodesh and Kodesh. Oh, Modin and Modin Elite. That's a good one. Yeah, Modin and Modin Elite. Right. In other words, you have both. You have the big one and you have the smaller version. Okay. Omar Ravashi says Ravashi. Sleikum the Akra de Sleikum. Here we see also by us. We know in Bavel there was a town called Sleikum. Yeah, there was a big city, and Akra de Sleikum was a smaller version of it, close to it. Gufa. Now let's learn more about the requirements of an Ir Miklat, which are many. Yeah, not every city can opt for being Ir Miklat. It says Or Malolu. You don't make them small villages. If you have a small village of Kohanim, it's disqualified. And if it's too small, you have to add people. Yeah. As Velo Kochin Gdoilim, not the big towns, not big cities. Ela Ayoros Benonios, middle of the road town. Then Mushivin Oison Ela Bimokom Maim. You only locate them lechatchila when Yeshua shows which cities will be for the Levim, knowing it will be Or Miklat. He had to make sure that they are next to a source of water. If there's no water over there, mevin lahem mayim. Then you bring water with a canal. You actually bring a canal, an aqueduct, whatever, to make sure that there's water coming to the city for a very obvious reason. If for water you have to get out of town in order to draw water, then you're putting the life of Mr. Rotzech B'Shegeg, put his life at risk. You don't do that. You also have to make sure that city has a shuk. In other words, a shuk that you have enough to live. Yeah, he can buy his shoes, his socks, whatever he needs. He has over there in the shuk. That's another requirement. Make sure that it's not a lonely town, even if it meets all other requirements. Make sure there's uchlusiya around it, which means that town of Ir Miklat is surrounded by other towns where not that are not our miklat. Why? Because if the town is a near miklat, bang in the middle of nowhere, it's very easy for a few goyal adam to get together. Yeah, they're going to open a Facebook page, goeladam.com. And all of Goel Adam, right, will get together. Yeah, and they'll all go with nice little guns and they'll gang up on that one small town, which is defenseless in the middle of nowhere. But if there are other cities there, it's different, right? Because they have a whole population there. It's much easier to basically put a small kibbutz under siege than to put the entire Gush Dan under siege. That's about 10 cities together, Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, Givatayim, all that, right? And therefore, if you have more population, they keep each other safe, and then you're not under sakana that the Goy Alei Hadam, all of them together, would gang up. And therefore, it has to be swallowed, in an urban area of other cities next to it. Nitmatu uchlusehen. Let's say all of a sudden the other cities next door left. There are no people there. Mosifin alen. You have to add people. You make people move there, and you tell people you have to move and live next door to the Ir Miklat because we want the Ir Miklat not to stay alone, not to stay lonely. Nismat Yudureyan. Let's say the Ir Miklat itself has less and less people. Yeah, they have. How do you say it in English? Agirash Lilit. They have two people maybe emigrating and not immigrating. What? Diminish. I meant the fancier word I was looking for. Diminish. Basically, opposite people are leaving more than coming in. Depopulating. Thank you. Yeah. If there's a depopulation, like in some countries in Europe, there's less and less people every year. What do? Then it's a problem because we don't want the town to be too small. And the Makkos is going to close. It's going to be almost a ghost town, and the poor guy will stay there on his own almost. Yeah, the Rotzech B'Shogeg. Mevin laim koyanim, levim ve'Israelim. Wow. Then you bring in people to town, even if they're not koyanim, levim. You bring hopefully good people, koyanim, levim, Israelim. You have to populate your miklat, so the guy is not alone. It's a place which is alive, and there's enough parnasa, enough people, v'chule. The en moichin behen. What kind of products are not allowed to be sold in an Ir Miklat? You're not allowed to sell weapons, right? Or trapping tools, all kinds of traps in the Ir Miklat. Why? A Goyal Adam, if he comes to the city, Goyal Adam, some of them don't mind to risk their lives. What happens to Goyal Adam if you kill someone in the Ir Miklat? Then you kill him. But let's say a guy says, I don't care. I don't care. I want to take revenge because my brother's blood is more important than anything. What? Okay, better, but he's still attracted there. He knows where the guy is. He violated. But we want to take care of that too. So let's say the guy comes with a gun. People will see that. Maybe the Shomer Bitachon, if he comes with a gun from out of town, then it will be noticed, under the jacket, not everything works like in the movies. But if he comes to town all clean, he passes Shomer Bitachon, hi, I'm here on a visit, what a lovely town. And then what does he do? He goes in town and he buys the knife. He buys a gun, like in an American store. Yeah, he buys it right there and then. Yeah, right. Then what? Then it's a problem. So as we say, Al titnu lahem rovim. Don't give him guns. Don't give him the opportunity to buy the gun in the town. So don't sell guns in that city. V'lo klei mitzuda. Even if it's a trapping device for an animal, sometimes it can harm a person too. Something sharp, something that traps his throat, or something like that. You don't sell it over there. That's a rule. By the way, there was, if you remember, Lo Aleinu, there was not so long ago, right? The whole wave of stabbing, right? A lot of our cousins used to stab, and there was a rule in some of the stores they wouldn't sell knives. And if you need a knife, then you have to go to the cashier and show you to that zut, because the Kempetzer Shomer Bitachon or cousins. Yeah, there was. I think in Rami Levi, the Shomer Bitachon, hi, I'm clean, salam alaikum, and then he comes to the store and he gets a knife in the store because they sell kitchen knives in the store and they can kill whoever he wants. Yeah. So they had limitations about that too. That's the same idea. Divrei Rabbi Nechemia. That's what Rabbi Nechemia says. The Chachamim matirin. Chachamim allow it. Chachamim are not concerned about that. Maybe we don't have to take care about Rotzech b'Mezid because that's anyhow not part of the sugya. But Chachamim don't seem to be concerned about that. As far as I know, the Rambam says it is not allowed. I think the Rambam paskins of Rabbi Nechemia. You're not allowed to sell guns there. V'shavin. Both people agree. Both Chachamim and Rabbi Nechemia agree. She'en poilsin b'soichen mitzudois. Then mafshilin otochen chavolim kedei shelo teragel goel adam mitzu yashan, which means, but everyone agrees that some certain activities are prohibited, are out of touch, should be off limits when it comes to the Ir Miklat. Polsin Mitzudos basically is people who build and they spread out nets. There's a profession how to like build the net or the no the not tramp no the tramps the traps I meant right the traps, right, those who build the traps that you shouldn't do over there. And also mafshilin chavolim to extend the chavolim, the ropes. Those kind of activities are not allowed there. The poshup shot of the Gemara, lo regel gol adam mitzu yasham. The gol adam shouldn't have an excuse to go there because he says that's where they're building that stuff. That's where I have to go. But why dafka these professions? Why not other things? Says the Meiri. The Meiri says that the type of people who deal with the mitzudas and the chavolim are tough people. They're rough kind of people, and we're concerned Goel Adam would be one of them. Goel Adam is an excuse, to be one of that group, and we want us to keep him out of there. However, either the Meiri or the Rambam, they say, I saw that also, in addition to that, you can't have any specialty, something that's being sold only in Ir Miklat and nowhere else, right? Let's say Kleis Chuchis was very rare over there, yeah? Letter is something you can't get in Bet Shemesh, you can only get in Tel Aviv. Yeah, my wife needed a special chair. The only place in Israel you can get those chairs are in Tel Aviv. Very, very, very specific orthopedic chairs. You can't get it anywhere in the country. We checked it, believe me. I wasn't excited to go to Tel Aviv from some reason. Yeah, I stayed in the car. And basically, only in Tel Aviv you can get that chair. So I'm going to Tel Aviv. I'm going to get that chair. Oh, so that special chair shouldn't be sold in here, Miklat. Because then again, the Goel Adam is excuse to go. Where are you going, Goel Adam? I'm going to that. Why am I going? Because that special chair is only there. Or that crystal vase, it's only sold over there. Oh, make sure there's nothing special and unique, dafka to the Ir Miklat. So Goel Adam is no excuse to go there. We get the feeling very, very clearly here. Ir Miklat has to be a place that is safe, surrounded by other people. The Ir Miklat cannot be too small and not self-sufficient, because we want the Rotzech to stay there, be able to stay there. And it shouldn't be too big and exciting and too, cosmopolitan, and urbane to attract the Goel Adam. It should be a middle of the road, sleepy but not too sleepy kind of town. That should be where the Rotzech B'Shogeg stays. Omar Rav Yitzchak Maikro. This is all very nice, but what's the source for all that? Well, how do you know that you have to be so careful and make sure go to such great length to make sure that the Goel Adam, that the Rotzech B'Shogeg stays alive? It says, "V'nasel achas min el v'chai." He has to run away, or he can run away to any of those towns, and he should live. Ovid le'midi, you should do something to him. L'tevi l'chiyusa, very good. Yeah, you should create an atmosphere of v'chai, that he should be able to live there for the rest of his life with no fear and with no trouble, without having to get out of the chule. Tana, okay, so that's it. So we see that's the punishment. Basically, that's the only thing in halacha that's similar to jail. Instead of jail, he goes there with his whole family and with other people. Yeah, he goes there and he stays there, not in the environment of bad people, environment of good people. By the way, what happens if the town is already so full of Rotzech B'Shogeg that it's 51%? You're not allowed to do that. Yeah. Let's say there's 51% Roitzchim and 49% of from Kohanim. There are too many of them coming, yeah? Like the Muslims in Europe, yeah? There are already too many immigrants. There are too many Rotzech B'Shogeg. There are too many of them. They're outnumbering the people. So then you make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, somehow you bring more people, the chule, you divert it, you do something. I'm not sure why, I have to see again. But whatever you do, yeah, you always have to have the good local community as the majority, and they give good example to the Rotzech B'Shogeg. Weiter. Tana, says the Braisa. Talmid Shagolo. Let's say there's a person who learns Torah and he wants to go to Shiur every day. He goes to Shiur every day, goes to Yeshiva every day, goes to a whole learning program every day. Lo Leinu, he killed someone b'Shogeg, Chalila. Maglin Rabbi Imoy. Then the Rav has to go to Golus with him. Wow. The rabbi who teaches him every day has to go to Golos with him and keep the shiur over there. No Zoom. Yeah, no Zoom. So what? So the Rav has to go with the Talmud to the Golus. Why? Shenemar v'chai. Because the Talmud has to live. Avid lemide de tevi lechiyusa. Do something for him that would keep him alive. And Torah keeps him alive. Says the Rambam, beautiful words. The Rambam here says, people who love Torah, people who love the writing Torah, the life without Torah is not a life. Life without Torah is not a life. It's death. It's dead man walking if you live without Torah. And therefore, if you have a Rav and you're attached to him, and the Talmud went away, the Rav is mechuyev to go to Golus with him. I mean, the Rav is allowed to go in and out of town. He didn't kill anybody, but on a regular basis, the Rav has to make sure that he's there, that he gives him share every day. Amar b'zeira. Now, a Rav may say, "Ach, I live in Bnei Brak. Now I have to start going to a Kodesh, to the north, and live there most of my life." Okay, you should have thought about it before. That shows you a person should never teach someone unless he's hogun, unless the person is a decent, good person. Which means to kill b'shoigeg to the level of shoigeg does not happen to good people. If that happened, again, oines, maybe, kov oines, maybe, but shoigeg, which is not so great, those things don't happen to good people. Therefore, before you start shiur, make sure that the participants in the shiur are good people. I hope, yeah. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, here in shiur we are, Baruch Hashem. Here we are. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, Harav Shegolo, ooh, the Rav himself, the one who gives the shiur, he killed b'shoigeg. Wow. And he is the one who now has to go to Golus. Maglin Yeshivasa Ima, the entire yeshiva goes with him. He gives shiur in the Mir to 1,000 Bochrim, and then he killed someone b'shogeg, a car accident, yeah? What do? He goes to your miklat, and the entire yeshiva smear, they all have to go to the your miklat with him, yeah? Because why? Because without giving Torah, he's dead. If he's not going to teach Torah, he'll be mentally, spiritually dead. So everybody else has to move together with him. Frag the Gemara, Eini, you really think that the Rav who learns Torah, hopefully, a Rosh Yeshiva, Magid Shiur, Mashgiach, he's a person of Torah. Why it happened to him? That's a good question, right? But the other question is, Eini, Vamar b'Yochanan minale divrei Torah shen koltin. Divrei Torah is like ir miklat. Wow. In the Havamina, the Gemara wants to say, a person who sits and learns, that's like an ir miklat. In other words, the fact that the person is the person of learning, is in koiled, in yeshiva is learning, that alone means the goyal adam cannot attack him. He'll go to the Mir every day. No need to move to Kodesh or to Ramot or to Golan or to Bashan. No, he stays in the Mir, learns there. And if Goel Adam comes, you can't touch me. I'm learning. Na. I'm in the Ir Miklat called Yeshiva, called Torah. Shenema, you know what's the source? It says, Esbetzer B'midbar. Yeah, it says, it gives a list of the 6 cities. And then it says, what? And then it says, V'ksiv Basrei, V'zoi Satoiro. Then it says, oh, you see, 6 are miklat, so you see the Torah is the 7th year miklat, or the 49th. So, why does the Rav need to go anywhere? And says the Gemara, Loi Kasha, it's not difficult. Very good, yeah? In other words, when the Talmud Chochem is oisik b'Torah, when he's engrossed, yeah, when he's engaged in the sugya, the Goel Adam should wait with a gun. Yeah. Once the Talmud Chochem is not oisek, he went to make himself a cup of tea. Yeah. We can make a movie out of this. Yeah. The second he gets out of the sefer in order to do something not oisek but Torah, goes to, I don't know, talk to his wife on the phone, then what? Then the Goel Adam may chap a bullet. Yeah. And therefore it's safer in an ir miklat. Move the yeshiva smear to an ir miklat. Thank you for your patience. We're going to finish soon. 1 second. Viboy seima. Another pshat, which is more accepted than the Rishonim. My koiltin mimalach hamoves. Divrei Torah are koilet. Divrei Torah do protect you, and you get absorbed in them and protected by them. But not vis-a-vis the Goel Adam. Goel Adam is allowed to kill a Talmud Chochem with rotzech b'shogeg in the middle of learning. Omar Abaye, boom. That's okay. But Malach HaMavis cannot do that. We're going to see now the 3rd story in the Gemara, that someone was involved in learning, engrossed in his learning, and therefore Malach HaMavis couldn't touch him. Who else? You guys rock. David Melech, Shabbos Daf Lamed. David Melech cannot be touched by Malach HaMavis until Malach HaMavis, shook the trees. So too in Bava Metzia Daf Pevav Amud Aleph about Rabba. Similar story. And now we're going to see the third one, Rav Chizda. Kiyoda Rav Chizda in Amoiro. Have Yossi v'Goris b'Bei Rav. Rav Chizda was sitting and learning in yeshiva. V'lava kayochil shlich the malach the moisel mikrav legabei. Yeah, the shliach, interesting, not Malchamovis. The messenger of Malchamovis, I'm not sure why, could not get near him. He couldn't penetrate the wall, the firewall of Torah. The lavashosik pume megirsa. Same words in the other places. He was learning all the time. And all the time he was learning his constant protection. The Malchamovis is trying, he can't. The Torah is protecting. Solik v'yosi va'arza. So the Malchamovis is trying his, all the strategy and techniques and tricks. What did he do? He went up and sat on the arza, on the erez, on the cedar tree, the beirav in yeshiva, poka arza. Then the tree, boom, somehow broke. The shosik, then he quieted down. The noise, the boom, the thud of the tree falling, somehow, stunned, him, stunned Rav Chizda, and he stopped learning. You stopped learning 1 second. And then he managed to kill him. One more to finish with something positive. Rabbi Tanchum Bar Chaniloi says, "Mipnei ma zocher Ruven linus batzol tchila, mipnei shu posach batzol tchila." Shneimar v'yishmaru Ruven mitzel miyodam. Okay, when he talks about the 6 cities of refuge, the one of Ruven, the one in the south of the one in the 3 in the Yarden, in Ever Yarden, the first one mentioned is Reuven. The question is, why is Reuven mentioned first? Why is his town mentioned first before anybody else? Says the Gemara, because Reuven is the one who started the Hatzolo. What's Arei Miklat? To save someone's life, to salvage and to save. Reuven was the one who wanted, at least, who managed, who tried and partially managed to save Yosef. Don't kill him, let's put him in the pit. And he wanted to come back to the pit and take him out, as we all know. Because Reuven was the Matzil, Mimela Reuven was the one that's also mentioned as first Hatzolo. Says, you have to hear this Malshah. It's sweeter than anything else you ever heard. 1 second. I just want to do again the chart. We'll finish soon. What do you mean, why was Reuven first? Why shouldn't be first? And if Reuven would be, and if God would be first, why is God? Somebody has to be first. He doesn't say because he's the first child. He doesn't say that. It says because of the Hatzol. It's a good point. Says Malsho, beautiful. When it comes to the cities in Eretz Yisrael, Hebron is mentioned last. It says Kodesh Shem, then Hebron. And Hebron is equivalent to Betzel. So if you do 1, 2, 3, you should have done 1, 2, 3. Then Reuven should be last. In other words, you do 1, 2, 3, north to south, and then you do south to north. Why? Be symmetrical. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Answers the Malshah. That's where there's a question. Why Reuven is first? It's not symmetrical. Should be last. And we say, okay, because he saved Yosef. But here comes a real cherry on top. Who is last? Now I'm going to ask, why is he mentioned last? Hebron belongs to Yehuda, and it says Yehuda was wrong in a way. Although Yehuda is the one who saved him and told he saved him, and he told him send him to Ishmaelim. The Gemara says, had he told them, let's just bring him home, Yehuda was the Melech, he was authoritative. He could have done, 1 millimeter more, the whole 9 yards, and tell them, why did you kill him? Let's just bring him home and finish the nonsense. And he didn't. So the Tvia against Yehuda, why wasn't he more of a saver? More of a lifesaver. Very good. That's why Yehuda is the last one to be mentioned on this side. And his counterpart, his equivalent, Reuven, is Dafka the first one. Malsho. Sweet. Atzlacho Vracha, may we not know of any of the tzoros, only good things. Everybody should be killed. B'mezi should be all the mechablim. And all of us should be saved and matzliach. Atzlacho Vracha b'chol inyonim. Thank you so much. See you in the morrow.